So first of all, thank you for agreeing this interview. It really means a lot to me. And we are here with Stella Assange, that is the lawyer, the wife of Julian Assange. Julian Assange is among the finalists of the Sakharov Prize. So my question is, which support did he receive from the European Parliament in this very delicate moment of the extradition process?
Well, first of all, countries need to stand up for their fundamental values and should not tolerate outrageous extradition requests like the one against Julian. Julian is facing extradition to a potential 175-year sentence for publishing about US wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and he was publishing from the European Union in partnership with EU partners, major papers like Spiegel and Le Monde and so on. It cannot be tolerated that a person is subjected to foreign espionage laws and secrecy laws. The case that is being taken against Julian effectively claims universal jurisdiction over what journalists can publish in the European Union. So the first step is to not allow the extradition in cases that go to publishing and to very basic tenets of democracy.
It seems there are double standards between EU and US extradition process. We had different cases recently. So I would like to ask you, what do you think is the best way to make the extradition process more fairer?
Well, the case should have been thrown out from the UK courts from day one. Julian should not have spent a single day in prison. He is being prosecuted for the very same activities that have made him a finalist for the Sakharov Prize today. Julian has won dozens of journalism and human rights awards. What he exposed was war crimes, civilian killings, torture, rendition, and so on. It exposed crimes committed by the US government and its agents.
And do you think the UK is completely subjugated to the US, and do you think the EU can do more than what it's actually doing now?
What's clear from the nomination and Julian being selected as a finalist for the Sakharov Prize is that Julian needs international protection. He needs the recognition of his status as a human rights defender and as a person who is politically persecuted, because this is a political case. It is a politically motivated prosecution. The United Kingdom should have thrown out this case from day one. He should not have spent a single day in prison. And in fact, Amnesty International said that the latest decision by the UK High Court allowing extradition was a travesty of justice. There's statements by many international organizations, and in fact the EU, aside from the Sakharov Prize finalist nomination, should do more. It should do a lot more. The US needs to hear from its allies that this is intolerable, that it affects EU values and interests, because it is the United States reaching beyond its borders, claiming jurisdiction into the European space in order to limit press freedoms and the public's right to know, the European public's right to know the truth, by criminalizing speech, by criminalizing journalism, and by creating a chilling effect in which the press cannot operate freely.
So what do you think is the state of democracy in the US? So what is your assessment, of course, in light of this case of the US democracy situation, in particular on the side of journalism and freedom of speech?
Well, this case is a real tracker of the state of US democracy and freedom of speech. And I say that because the Obama administration said publicly that they were not going to prosecute Julian for the Chelsea Manning leaks. And in fact, on the last day of Obama's presidency, he pardoned Chelsea Manning. What happened? The Trump administration came in, and the Trump administration had a very adversarial relationship with the press. And this case was used in order to set a precedent so that the press could be charged with publishing the truth. This case is unprecedented in the United States, and the very first time they've used the Espionage Act against a publisher for publishing. They're not accusing him of being a spy for any country. They're saying that he received information from a source, he possessed it, and he communicated it to the public. So obviously, when you start criminalizing telling the truth, you are no longer a solid, open democracy. You are attacking the very basic structure of what it means to be a democracy. And it's a very dangerous, slippery road from there.
Here, in terms of democracy, we are living, I don't know if you read in the press, very, very delicate moments, so in particular inside the European institution for the Qatargate scandal. I want from you like a brief comment on what's happening in terms of what do you expect in, to protect democracy. The European Parliament will react on the Qatari, these scandals. Of course, also giving also a perspective on the freedom of speech and the journalism and justice investigation.
Well, institutions are always at risk of corruption, and it is extremely important that there is safe ways for those who have information about wrongdoing to be able to make the public aware of wrongdoing by individuals who are abusing their power in official institutions. I'm not across the detail of the Qatargate scandal, but Julian has always said that it's important to understand how institutions behave in order to make them more accountable, and exposing corruption is the basis for being able to keep a healthy democracy.
Thank you so much.